We are live, another edition of Let's Talk Broncos with your host, Kurt Valenti. Welcome back, Mr. Valenti.
How are you, Mrs. Valenti? Before we get going, I want to give you major shout outs for the haircut tonight.
Oh,
Looks good.
did they notice on your show?
Oh, I announced it. I announced that you gave it to me. And again, haircuts, you're good. You're very good. We got to work with the fade action, but you're good. It looks good. It feels so much better. So I'm ready to roll.
We got to admit it's a team effort because I do the buzzing, but you neaten it up around
I
the
do. I
the
do.
sides there. So yeah, but welcome back. We are going to dive into some Broncos talk tonight, obviously. But before we get going, just a couple of things. You're fresh off of a Wednesday night episode of the K&K Sports Show with your K&K hosts. Where we had guest Albert Knoppers of your Denver Bronco Roundup. They like to call you your West Coast cousins. Not really West Coast, but West cousins, close to the coast. And some other scheduling events coming up. As usual on Thursdays, Wits and Wagers. Paul and Kenny will be doing their weekly show devoted to the New York Giants. Clams and Claws will do their Saturday morning kind of updated wagering topics. And we have been on a little bit of a hiatus in All In on High School Sports due to the just some scheduling things and the craziness of the holiday season, kind of the start of the winter season, but we will be back in full effect in the new year as well. So I just wanted to mention those few things. Before we get going, Kurt.
Yeah, we deserve a little break on that, Jen. You deserve a little break, so we'll go easy on you for that one. No, I know. We did a big fall season. We did a big fall season.
We took on a lot. We took a big step with a lot more programming. So, with everything going on, outside of podcasting, we probably just needed a little break. Quite honestly, it turned out, it just worked out that way. But I wanted to mention you're having a good sports evening.
I am big St. John's win to start the season, to start the Big East season.
Yep.
And our New York Knicks just put
the first clap for the night.
Just put a beating on our little sisters. They're not even sisters, whatever you want to call them, from Brooklyn. Just put a beating on them. So
all right, let me get a couple of comments in here. We have Michael checking in saying, "Good evening, Kurt. Go Broncos."
What's up, Michael? Let's go.
Kenny saying, "Good evening, Jen and Kurt. Merry Christmas to both of you and the Bronco family." Thank you, Kenny. Right back at you. And he's saying,
Kirkpatrick will be joining us tonight.
And he's saying, "Let's go," in reference, I'm sure, to the Knicks. The Knicks win there. Yep, absolutely. So, and your Johnnies, did you mention you did mention the Johnnies.
I did. Huge win. Patino's first game in the Big East. Big win over Xavier at home in Carnesecca. We now move to Saturday night, go to UConn, who got upset big time. A lot of injuries for UConn. So, hey, Johnny, Saturday night, big sports. Listen to the sports weekend, Jen. It's not just ho, ho, ho holidays here, because we got Saturday night, right? We got Saturday afternoon, Knicks Bucks at the Garden. Saturday night, St. John's goes to UConn. Sunday night, our beloved Broncos, do or die in playoff game number 1. Hey, rolls right back into Monday afternoon. We got the Knicks Bucks again Christmas Day. So let's go.
All right. And let's hop right into topics here. Let's get your opening statement for the evening.
Yeah, opening statement, Jen. I am going to be cool as a cucumber tonight. Okay? That game Saturday night didn't shock me, didn't surprise me, because on an NFL schedule, right, you look at a schedule, and that's a game when you look and you say, it's probably going to be a loss. Why? Because it's a very good team. It's a very good team that lost 2 of 3. That came off a very bad loss in Chicago, got a little disrespected. And you know what? I'm not going to say it was a must win for the Lions, but pretty close to a must win. All right. So you go on the road. It happens. Hey, I'm just going to say this one time. If we don't win, if we don't get into the playoffs, I don't want to hear anybody say, well, it's because we didn't beat the Lions. BS. If we win the next 3 games, and Jen, if we don't win these next 3 games, Patriots at home, Chargers at home, and at the Raiders, Brady Zappi, I forgot the guy's name, Stitch, and Aiden O'Connell. If you can't beat those 3 teams, we don't deserve to be in the playoffs. Point blank.
All right,
We shouldn't be in the playoffs.
let me get in a couple of comments here, Kurt. Jody checking in. And he is another Denver Broncos roundup person. He's saying Nuggets did work on the Raptors tonight. Congrats to the Nuggets there, Jody.
Yep.
Clayton checking in, saying, hey guys, smash that like button and share. Kenny saying, cool as a cucumber, now hot as a habanero later when he comes on. And then Clayton saying Denver Broncos for life. And he is saying 10-7 wild card, baby. And then we got Anthony Mataloni checking in saying, who would you rather have back, Terrell Davis or Elway, Romanowski or Bailey?
Oh, that's so. Listen, man, I'm always going to take Elway. I think he's the best quarterback ever in the NFL. But Terrell Davis was damn good. Champ Bailey wasn't. So I'm still going to go Elway. But this is going to surprise you. As good as Champ Bailey, I mean, if I could compare Champ Bailey with Pat Surtain and put them together, but Bill Romanowski, man, he just brought something to this defense. This is what you need on that defense. Yeah, like I could tell you this: Mahomes and Kelsey, they're not flexing with Bill Romanowski. I'll tell you, he'll take both of their heads off. He'll go into the stands and get Taylor Swift too. He don't care. So I'm going to go Romanowski and Elway in that one. I am.
Jody saying TD with Russ. Clayton saying ground and pound, baby. Let Russ use his legs and get after that QB. We know we can do it.
Absolutely. 100%, Clayton. But let me get back to this real quick, Jen. My point is, I don't want to hear if we win the next 3 and we should win the next 3, Clayton says 10-7. And if we don't get in, I don't want to hear anybody say because we didn't beat the Lions. No. It's because we didn't beat the Commanders, we didn't beat the Raiders, and we didn't beat the Jets. That's why you're not in the playoffs, because you lost to those 3 teams, not the Lions. That Lion game is a very hard game to win. Was it ugly? Yes. But, you can't expect to win that game. But now, hey, like Clayton said, let's get the next 3. Let's get back to our formula again, ground and pound, run the ball, play defense, Russ make big plays. And it's one of the, you know what it is, Jen? I heard this today and I love it. It's a playoff game Sunday night. We have 3 playoff games. We have to win each one. That's it. There's no, no, 9-8. I'm going to be, I don't even want to get in. We shouldn't get in if we're 9-8. Be 10-7. Let's go. Get in there 10-7. Let the things work out. We'll get in there and here we go. But it's a playoff game Sunday night and I'm fired up.
All right. We got Anthony Mataloni saying Romanowski was like Bateman in The Replacements.
Oh, he was. I'm telling you, Jen. I know,
you had his jersey.
I do have his jersey. I have that jersey. And listen, it's just from him slapping his hands against Cordell Stewart, throwing the ball, saying stupid. I mean, listen, he done some stupid stuff, spitting in what's his name's face was ridiculous. But the mentality that he brought, Jen, to this defense, the nastiness, just I love them, man. And you know what? He was a champion, right? Won with San Fran. We didn't win a Super Bowl, and we needed that on the defensive side of football. Listen, it's a guy that helped us win back-to-back championships. JJ Stokes was the guy he spit in. Yeah, that was ridiculous. That was, we don't need that in the NFL. But I remember him saying to Cordell Stewart, stupid, you're making stupid mistakes in an AFC championship game. And he did. He did.
All right, let's do a little game recap of the Lions Broncos game this weekend.
Listen, there's not much to talk about. We got totally outclassed, outcoached, out hustled, outworked. Again, tough environment. You're going into Detroit on a national stage, on a national stage on Thanksgiving game where they got embarrassed versus the Packers. Now they come back. They lose 2 of 3. Probably should have lost 3 of 3. They lose to the Bears. You're in a spot that's so tough. Again, when you circle that, when you look at the schedule and you're like, win, and you're like, that's going to be tough, man. That's going to be tough. It's a bad matchup for us. They got a stud tight end that we still can't cover since 2015. They ran the ball on us, and our game plan went to garbage. It went to garbage. You know, you get there, boom, 40-yard play right out of the gate. You're 3-4 plays. You're right. You're in scoring. You're in. I don't know if we're in the red zone, but we're inside. We're in scoring position, and here we go. He calls a boot. Here they come. We just they couldn't protect. They couldn't protect Russ. We couldn't run the ball. We got away from running the ball. We're running Javonte Williams on outside runs. It's just poor game planning. Again, when you got to Jen, you got to praise people, and you got to be truthful, right? You got to praise people when they're good. And Sean Payton and Vance Joseph have been very good. They were both atrocious on Saturday night.
We have a comment from Trevor coming in saying, good evening, Kurt and Jen. This Broncos offense has me concerned. Sean Payton has something to prove in these next 3 games.
He does. Thank you, Trevor, for watching. He absolutely does, Jen, because, again, it's, we're going to get into this Russ and Sean Payton from Saturday night and going forward. But, I don't get it, man. You say Russ can't throw the slant ball. Russ can't do this. And you see it and boom, goes for 40. Rest of the night, we don't go back to it. I don't understand. Sometimes I don't get it. Is it, I'm trying to be cute again and I'm going to show the league, and it doesn't work like that. We know what kind of coach you are, Sean. We understand. We know you're a Super Bowl Hall of Fame coach, but this is how this team's going to win. So do what is going to get this team to win. I don't care what you did with Drew Brees. I really don't, because I'm going to tell you, there's only one Drew Brees, right? There's only one Drew Brees. If Drew Brees was in football today, he would be the best football quarterback in football, hands down. He's never going to get another Drew Brees. It's not going to happen. So I don't know. He's wishing upon a star, and that you were there, you did it like that. That's not going to work. Okay, you had a very special player who was, very specialized in one thing, right? Let's get to this real quick, Jen, because, what could this guy do? What could that guy do? Right, but, as good as Drew Brees was, when Drew Brees went on the road in the playoffs in December, then all of a sudden he don't have the arm strength. So he wasn't the perfect player. He wasn't the perfect player, and I'm going to get into this with Sean Payton too. And again, I love him. I love him as our head coach, but he won 1 Super Bowl only with Drew Brees, and he blew a couple playoff games, and he got into this. I'm going to throw it all over the yard. So we're going to get into that. But, you gotta, everybody has their pros. Everybody's going to have their cons, right? So you have a special player in Russell Wilson. Do what makes him special, right? Do what makes him special. He hasn't done it. And that's why when Trevor said he's concerned, I'm concerned too. But he better do it now. You got 3 games left. So you talked about playoffs. This is your shot. Let's go.
Well, let me get some comments in here. Mark Calderio checking in saying, hey, Kurt. Hey, Mark. Thanks for watching. Anthony saying Ed McCaffrey was the unsung hero of that team, that era there. Jody Moncrief saying Dak is the best quarterback currently, LOL. And Chris checking in from YouTube saying that the Broncos got their butts barbecued.
They did. Listen, Chris is right, man. 100%. I'm not going to lie, Jen. It always worried me. I kept saying to you, didn't I say, I'm worried about this game? Like it could get away. It's a bad matchup. It's again, national television on the road. I didn't like a lot about it. Thankfully, that was the one game. Hey, if we were going to go 3-1, it was that NFC matchup, that crossover game. That's over. That's done with. We have 3 playoff games that start Sunday. We win, we advance. We win, we advance. We lose, we go home. That's as simple as that.
The Manny checking in saying, I think he's replying here to Jody, who was being facetious about Dak Prescott, saying, absolutely not. And they saying Purdy is the MVP.
Yeah, listen, I'm gonna go a little different than him. I'm gonna go McCaffrey, but I mean, I'm sorry. I can get into the whole thing, but finally, I said this, Jen, on K&K. You know what it is, Manny? Every time I bet the Cowboys, they screw me. They get me. They get me. And I was all week. 2 weeks ago, when was it? When they beat the Eagles, I was all on them. Oh, I'm gonna come back. I had 8.5 points with the Cowboys too, Manny, and that didn't even help. But finally, hey, the Buffalo Bills got the memo. Run the ball, play defense, right? What did they do? I think he threw it 15 times. Let me see, Jen. I got to get the stat on this. Give me a
What did
second.
they have, like 94 yards, I
Yeah,
want to say?
94 yards, right? So everybody that says you got to have 300 yards, you got to have 400 yards, you're never going to win. Every time I see Josh Allen throw it 40 times, he's throwing it all over the yard. He's throwing it in Cincinnati. He's throwing it to New England. He's throwing the ball. He's fumbling the game away. This week, 7 for 15, 94 yards. They win 31-10 over Dallas Cowboys. That's how it's done, boys.
Manny's got the simple solution for you. Don't bet them, right?
Oh, yeah. I don't know. I don't know.
Chris checking in saying the Broncos were riding high, but they forgot to show up. He's also saying Ed McCaffrey is the GOAT. And Anthony saying run the ball, but stop the run. Trevor saying was Sean Payton a prodigy of Drew Brees? Maybe a product of Drew Brees. That's the big question surrounding this team. Cannot just blame Russ for this offense being this disappointing. Payton is the architect of the offense.
Well, let's get right to that, because I'm gonna jump into this real quick about.
You know what? Let me get, maybe as you go into it, because Jody's saying when will Peyton get the memo to run the ball, and you got Kenny saying to you, I saved his comment there. What makes Peyton so special? And then finally we got Keith checking in saying, what did the Broncos offense need to do to keep pace with the Lions? So I'm going to kind of let you encompass that all into one here.
Where do you want me to start?
Wherever you would like.
I'm going to start with the Sean Payton thing, okay? Because this is, and again, I am ecstatic that he is our coach. Okay, I'll say it for the 100th time on this show. Super Bowl champion, will be a Hall of Fame coach. All right, but I'm going to say this: he better really look in the mirror and really better decide what he wants to do with Russell Wilson. Okay, because in my eyes, I'm paying this guy $18 million a year, Sean Payton. Okay, and he's going to get one quarterback, especially if I'm Greg Penner and I'm the Penner Walton family, and you're going to go away and you're going to tell me I don't want Russell Wilson, so we're going to eat money up. We're basically going to pay him not to play for us. So we're going to. So Sean Payton's not paying him. Greg Penner and Walton's paying him, right? So we're going to pay him, and he's going to be on our cap. Okay. But, I'm going to pay you $18 million as a head coach. In my eyes, he has one guy to win with. So one guy. So if you're getting rid of Russ, who's a Super Bowl champion, 2-time Super Bowl player, 1-time champion, should be 2-time champion, but Super Bowl champion, will be a Hall of Fame quarterback. If you're going to throw him aside, you have one guy and one chance to redeem yourself. Because if it doesn't work with your one guy, you're done. I'm not going to play we're going to do this and we're going to play Jarrett Stidham and we're going to, no, because you showed that this team, okay, hopefully is 10-7. Okay. Don't even playoffs or no playoffs. We're not going to go there, but 10-7. We're not going backwards. So I'm telling them straight up, if we go backwards, you're out. Okay. And you have one quarterback. So if you're going to put your Bronco head coaching career and your second career where people talk about, was it Drew Brees? I'm going to give you one guy. I don't care who it is. If you want to say it's Jarrett Stidham, then it's Jarrett Stidham, but that's all you're getting. You want to say it's J.J. McCarthy? It's J.J. McCarthy, but that's all you got. Once that goes south, you're done. That's how it's going to be. You want to throw Russ to the side, you're not getting this quarterback, another quarterback, another. You're not getting that here. You got one guy because we got you a guy. You either A, if you're such a good coach, you play to his strengths. And when you say, well, what can he do? Well, I saw what he could do because I saw him raise a trophy against us, and he should have raised the second one. So I saw what he could do. But if you're going to go against it and cost money on the cap, money in our pockets, and all that, you have one chance to get it right. And if it's not right in year 2 and you're going back to a 6-year team, you're done. That's what I'm saying.
All right, let me get some of these comments in here. Mark Calderio saying you have the same O-line the whole year. Run the damn ball. It's about ball control. Jody Moncrief agreeing with you. Agree, Kurt, Russ, or one guy. Trevor saying Peyton's last year in New Orleans was middle tier in many different offensive categories. Peyton's record without Drew Brees is 16-15 in 2 seasons. And Chris is saying Drew Brees or Drew Lock.
Hey, you know what? Let's give a shout out to Drew Lock, man. You know,
Yep.
We talked about it 100 times, and Jody was right before. He was very immature in Denver, but he never got a fair shot. You know, he never got a fair, and not even he ever got a fair shot. He never it's like, okay, I'm going to throw you into win this fight. It's 1 versus 12. Like he never had a shot there with, again. Oh my God, my mind's going blank. Pat Shurmur and Fangio. He never had a chance, never had a chance. But what is your, do you agree with me and Jody on that, Jen? Where if you're going to give me, because what you're going to ask me to do, right? I'm sorry, you're not asking me to, get rid of Zach Wilson or Trey Lance or any of these first round busts. You're asking me to get rid of a Hall of Fame quarterback where it took us 7 years, okay, or 8 years from Peyton Manning to get back to get a legit star quarterback. It was so hard to do. And now you're going to get rid of him. You want me to do that after everything we had to do to get him. Does he get more than one guy?
I hope that Sean Payton puts what we're perceiving as his stubbornness with this aside, because I think you've seen glimpses of really good things that could be with this combination, which is kind of the topic you wanted to get into. I feel like that Payton Russ, I don't even want to call it a disagreement because it was very one-sided, on the sideline there when Peyton really let Russ have it. I feel like, is he setting Russ up for failure? We're the conspiracy theorists here. Is he trying not to I don't know. I don't understand why he isn't. I don't know. I feel like he needs to embrace it a little bit more. I do. Embrace Russ. I think it's a good combo. I think it has the potential to be a very good combo.
Jen, it's, I'm going to be honest. I don't have a problem with what Sean Payton did. I really don't.
No. I don't either. But
no, but I want to get into that real quick. Like, I know people,
I like how Russ handled it.
Right, and you know what? And honestly, it wouldn't matter. See, I like the old school. I really do. I like the Bill Parcells and the thing, I like that. So I have no problem with him on national television. If he wants to rip his quarterback, rip your quarterback. And I would have no problem if Russ got back in his face or if Russ did what he did. Everybody's different. I could tell you this, Tom Brady's not going to do that. And Peyton Manning's not going to do it. That's how those guys were wired. It doesn't make them a better person than Russ or anything like that. No, it doesn't. It honestly doesn't. But I'm just going to say straight up that I don't have a problem with Sean Payton did.
Do you think Sean Payton, if Peyton Manning or Tom Brady was his quarterback, you think he wouldn't have gotten in his face like that?
I don't know. I really don't know if he would, again, you got to remember, he comes from that Parcells tree, right? Parcells was, the master of, And Kenny can come on later and Kenny could talk about it. And it's a great question to ask him. But he was the master of, whether it was Sims and Lawrence Taylor, and he didn't give a blank. He didn't, and you saw though how when he went from the Jets, I'm sorry, to the Giants, to the Jets, to the Patriots, everywhere he went, this guy won. Right. And he took teams that were bad and he made them championship contenders. So I don't disagree with him. So Sean Payton underneath that, being under him, I don't know if he does that with Russ. But I don't have a problem with it, Jen. I really, truthfully don't. I don't have a problem with it. And again, I wouldn't have a problem either way. What Russ did, I don't have a problem, and I wouldn't have a problem if Russ got back in his face.
You know what I find interesting is I feel like it was a little bit of maybe misdirected. The team was playing like crap. Listen, you were questioning you said it yourself. He got out coached, and I feel like he might have felt like he was being out coached, and I feel like he kind of took it out on Russ a little bit and made it seem like it was more of Russ's fault than his own. That's the only thing I didn't like about it. I'm going to be honest with you in that situation.
You look at. And we'll get into Trevor's question, but you look into again where we've come from the past 8 years. Okay, it's just been garbage after garbage after garbage, right? And now you have a legit team. Okay, and I will say this again: if you have to put Denver in that same situation that they were in last Saturday night, I'm going to be honest. I don't even know if they win 1 out of 10. It's just you're putting a team just in a situation where it's just like 2 weeks ago when I said Philadelphia has no shot in Dallas. Dallas waited for that all year long. They get them in their building. There's so much against you. The Lions losing 2 of 3. Now they're home after losing on Thanksgiving, and now they're playing. It's so hard to do it, but you're not. After what we've done and where we are, and again, even with that game, this team could still go out. And I'm not even trying to be funny. There's not a team, maybe the 49ers, that we can't beat. I'm dead serious. Why not? Why not? Why? If this team comes with a good game plan, you've seen the talent on this team. If we do and we run it and we let our defense play, we could be with anybody. So I am not going backwards. So that's my point. One quarterback. You know what? Hey, your quarterback better get me to 11 wins and a divisional round next year then. Because if we win 4 games, I'm firing him. Because no, I'm not doing that.
All right, Kurt, let me get to, I kind of skipped over Keith's question here. I was going to bring it back up to you. The Seahawks won the Super Bowl with Russ a decade ago. What can Russ do now?
Again, it's, you look at it and see, I'm not a believer in that he won a decade ago. I don't. I know people say the same thing about Aaron Rodgers. I mean, if you look and if you can say to me, you don't want Aaron Rodgers. Okay, he got hurt 4 plays. But I'm sorry. You're going to take Dak Prescott over Aaron Rodgers in a playoff run? You're going to take Jalen Hurts over Aaron Rodgers in a playoff run? I mean, come on. You guys got to be nuts. No, absolutely not. Because I saw him do it. You know how hard it is to do? There's my answer. It is extremely hard to win a Super Bowl. And I don't care when you do it or where you do it and how you do it. When you do it, and we talked about this the other day, and people laughed at me a couple weeks ago, Jen, and I don't know if you were on the show, when I said I would take Joe Flacco over half these people. People aren't laughing now, right? Because they're going to go to a postseason with a lights out defense, with a great running game, and you're going to have a quarterback that's been there and done it. He went into Denver and he beat Peyton Manning. He went into New England that same season and he beat Tom Brady. And he won a Super Bowl. And you know what? I'm sorry. When you do that, you just have that it factor. So yeah, the Cleveland Browns are legit. I would rather have Joe Flacco having to drive my team down in the postseason than rely on Dak Prescott. On Baker Mayfield. I would rather have Joe Flacco. Yes.
Let me circle back to one of Trevor's comments, because that's going to kind of segue into something I wanted to kind of pose to you tonight. So Trevor saying that getting rid of Russ would make a major dent into Denver's cap room, right? Getting rid of Russ will cost Denver $85 million over the next 2 years. You can't make the rest of your roster better if you. I'm sorry, you cannot make the best of your roster better if you cut Wilson. Denver immediately handicaps themselves. So I saw Denver Broncos 365 on Twitter tweet this. No one is talking about it this way, but the best thing for this franchise going forward would be for Russell Wilson to restructure his contract to a team-friendly deal like Aaron Rodgers, and for the Broncos to draft a quarterback in round 1. I don't know if Russ is willing to do that, but George Payton needs to try. What do you think of that?
100%. Listen, I'm not against that. Listen to me. I've always said I have no problem, none, if Sean Payton says, and again, I keep throwing the name out, JJ McCarthy is my guy, or if Bo Nix is my guy. But Sean, here's the thing. You're not getting, I'm not letting you bury this team with Jared Stidham to get the Bo Nix. You're going to play Russell Wilson, because I'm paying Russell Wilson, and we can win with Russell Wilson. You know what I want to do, Jen? I want to do what Green Bay did. Because you know what Green Bay did? Green Bay basically said, here's what Green Bay said to Aaron Rodgers. We don't think you have it anymore. So we're going to go. Listen, I'm not agreeing with them because I think it's stupid. We're going to go and we're going to draft your replacement in first round in Jordan Love. And you know what that did, Jen? That lit a fire up Rodgers, you know what. And you know what Rodgers told? And you know what basically what Green Bay said is, we're going to play you until either he's really ready or you decline. And Rodgers went back-to-back MVP. And Green Bay couldn't trade him. Right? When everybody in the world said they wanted that. And you know what? Oh, now that, everybody, I don't want Rodgers. Then it came in the conversation in a group chat. Oh, yeah, but Green Bay can't trade Rodgers because they know. Listen, they would still be better off if they had Aaron Rodgers than Jordan Love. Still be better off. So you know what? To get to that, Jen, I have no problem. You want to draft a quarterback, but I want Russell Wilson as my quarterback until you fully say it goes to Bo Nix. But then your career with the Broncos, Sean, is with Bo Nix. But we're not playing patty cake games and garbage games for year 1 to win 4 games. So you get Bo Nix ready. Either Bo Nix plays and your career's on the line now, or I want Russell Wilson playing so we win while you get him ready. And maybe Bo Nix plays 3 years down the road after you can win with Russell Wilson. That's what they should do.
All right. Well, how do you see Peyton and Russ' relationship going forward this season and beyond?
Again, I don't understand why you're not playing to your quarterback strengths. I've said it 100 times on this show, that coaches are just foolish that they don't do it. And it's kind of like Sean Payton is, I don't know, Jen, you said sabotage. Is Sean Payton going to, okay, well, look, Greg Penner, like I can't win with him. So, the thing is, the stupid part is, like you said, Jen, you saw what they could do together when you do it the right way, right? You saw it. Just like there's nobody that can ask. I don't want to hear it was 10 years ago. There's nobody that can say, well, can Russell Wilson win you a Super Bowl? Because that's done already. You could say that about Dak, Lamar, Joe Burrow, Purdy. You could say that about all those guys. But you can't say that about Russell Wilson. You can't say it about Rodgers because they've done it. They've done it. So nobody can say, can you win a Super Bowl with Russell Wilson? Yeah, he did it already. So, that's your job as a head coach. You make $18 million. 18. That's your job to get this offense and to work it around this Super Bowl champion quarterback. So should it look like Seattle? Yeah, it should look like Seattle. Not only because Russ does a good job of it, Jen, it's the way you win in this league. What Seattle did is how you win in this league. You run the ball, you play defense, and you let your quarterback make a couple plays a game. That's what you do.
Michael saying, or asking, I should say, does general manager George Payton survive this year with the Broncos?
Again, I don't really think like he's the GM in name, but he's not making any decisions, right? This is all this is all Sean Payton is doing. So, I don't think, Payton might be making phone calls behind the scenes, some draft stuff. He's, drafting, doing some draft work, but any decision made is going to be Sean Payton anyway. So I really don't think it matters. I mean, listen, if you're going to pay him, I'm not sure. I think he still has a couple more years in his contract. Pay him to do something. Let him work on the draft, dude. Let him do something. So I think he survives.
All right. Well, we have Mr. Kirkpatrick, your guest for the evening, ready to go behind stage. Shall I bring him in?
Absolutely.
All right. Let's get Kenny in here. Hey, Kenny, how
What's
you doing?
up, Mr. Kirkpatrick?
Hey, Ben, good to I'd say good to see you, but good to hear from you. And, Kurt, good to see you again. Saw you an hour ago, so good to see you again.
Likewise, Mr. Kirkpatrick. Jen, can I start with Mr. Kirkpatrick?
Yeah, go ahead. That's the
All right.
plan.
I got a couple of things again, and thank you for coming on the show. I want to get something from not a just pure Bronco perspective. And when we talk about what happened on Saturday night with our head coach just absolutely lambasting our quarterback on a national television, getting in his face, I want to go to somebody who, even though we were younger, Kenny, you lived through it, right? Because your head coach and, your head coach and my head coach now, mentor, Bill Parcells, was known for doing that. Did it with Sims, did it with LT. So let me ask you, how did you feel when he did it years ago? And does it matter that that was years ago, Kenny? And his mentor, who, hey, I worship everything this guy taught me. That's what he taught me. So I'm going to do it now. What's your thoughts? And how do you compare those two?
My thoughts are we've all been through it. We're all athletes, right? We played sports sometime within our life. We've all had that coach or coaches that may yell. Coaches coach different and players take it differently. If Russ showed that he can obviously take a yelling from a coach, because if he couldn't, you would have seen him bark back or get upset about it. Same in throughout grammar school, high school, college. Some coaches, as a coach, you coach too, Kurt. I coached. You yell at some kids. It's the way you coach some people. Some people may not be able to take it emotionally. You don't do it. I had no problem with it. And I have no problem with Parcells doing it years ago. It happens. We got into fights. We get into fights all the time. Yep. We're talking 5 minutes later.
Yep. You're right.
It's life. It's life. It's how, it brings the best out of somebody. You know what? It was a frustrating time at the moment. He yelled, big deal. Move on from it.
Yep.
I don't know why everybody is making a huge big deal out of it because of the hatred for Russell Wilson. And it's only coming from that end of the Bronco fandom. It's not coming from this end that wants the Broncos to succeed. It's coming from the fandom that wants a rebuild. That's where it's coming from.
You're right. And you know what? Jen made a great point before about, what's going on with the future and all this. And I made a statement before, for 8 years, I had to go. You ready, Jen? Cover your ears, Jen. Okay. Cover your ears. By the way, Jen, you did a great haircut today. Just want to give another shout out today.
I gave Jen a shout out in the comments, the barber.
Great shout out. But Jen, you've known me. You didn't know me when we won our last Super Bowl in 2015. You knew me right after that. And together we had to go through Simeon, Drew Lock, Paxton Lynch, Case Keenum, Joe Flacco, Brandon Allen, Teddy Bridgewater. So all that. And then you finally get Russell Wilson. Okay. I don't want to hear what you gave. I don't want to hear because we still won that deal. I don't want to hear it. But you get Russell Wilson. And now when, not only, okay, there's no contract, you're going to sign him. You sign him to a big contract. So if you're going to throw him to the wayside, you're going to have ridiculous amount of money on the cap. He's not going to be on your team paying for him on the cap and all that stuff. Do you agree with me, Kenny? One guy. You get one guy. If that guy fails, he's gone and you're gone. Agree or disagree?
Yeah. Agree 100%. I mean, it's got to be one guy. How it can't be any other way. And real quick, back to this Sean Payton thing, okay? Every sport has it. Everybody does it, okay? Why don't the fandom that wants Russ gone worry about Sean Payton, because I'm down on him. Worry about Sean Payton kicking a field goal down 3 scores late in the game, a meaningless field goal. Worry about him punting the ball in the 4th quarter at midfield. That's what you should be worrying about. Not worrying about, Russ got yelled at. Let's bash Russ. He's on his way out now because Peyton yelled at him.
Right.
It's a joke.
I'm going to play a little devil's I'm going to play a little devil's advocate on that, because I think that I don't have a problem with it. Listen, I was a coach for a long time. I did my share of yelling at my players, right? And like you said, an attempt to most times bring out the best in them, or so I thought. But you know what? All those things you just said, Kenny, right? And Kurt, you would agree, because you've been saying and actually in the drive right before he ripped into Russ, you specifically questioned a few of his play calls, right, Kurt, in that drive. Yeah. And that's why I had a problem with him yelling at Russ, because I felt like he wasn't taking the responsibility for what had happened on the field. And he was, listen, yell at your players. That's fine. But I felt like it was a deflection of like the things you're mentioning, Kenny, like that he maybe has not done as good a job as we were all anticipating maybe him to do at times, so that was the problem I had. Not the yelling in itself, but the, when it came, why it came, and when it came.
Yeah. Good point, Jen. Great point.
It's a great point. Absolutely. Great point. And you know what?
Kurt, I want to interrupt. I want to interrupt real quick, Jen. I'm sorry. I did get text from Paul earlier. We got word Paul Rosen wasn't feeling too well. He sat out tonight's show. He is doing much better. I just wanted to update everybody on that.
Okay.
Because I know there's some people in here that were on our show earlier and asking about him. So he is doing much better. So I think he'll be doing well. So just wanted to give that update.
Good. That's good news. Good news. Jen, I want to come back to you on something, okay? And you do a great job running the show and stuff like that. But what would you do? Let me ask you this. First, 2-part question. Do these last 3 games, because Zoli just commented, Russ handled it well, Peyton went nuts, and at the time, so was I, LOL. Win the next 3 and all is well in Bronco country. Okay? Let's just say we win the next 3. Mm-hmm. Playoffs or no playoffs? Again, I'm not even going to get into that, but 10-7. What do you do with Russell Wilson?
Listen, I am not, you and I are very different in, and you haven't been like this with Russ, but you are ready to cut someone, fire a coach, like as soon as they have like a one little hiccup. I think that I want to keep the combo. I said to you week 1, I know that they struggled in the beginning, but there was a definitive difference in the look of the offense, how the offense looked, and that is a credit to both Peyton and Russ. I think that it is something that could be very good. So I think that I think you need consistency, and I think a second year with this duo with a year under their belt is going to be good.
And more talent. Right. We say every week, we watched the guy Laporta last week from the Lions, and it's just like, oh my God, we don't have a guy like that. Mm-hmm. We got to get a guy like that. Mm-hmm. We need that. We do not have, we need a guy that can cover those guys too, but we do not have a legit tight end. Like, how nice it is to have a tight end? Like, you look at Brady all those years, and he had, I know he was like, a train wreck off the field and stuff, but he had Aaron Hernandez and Gronk. I mean, are you joking? Like, to have those guys there? Like, okay, there's your safety outlets. Like, we have guys, like, again, that aren't NFL starters. So I'm sorry. Kenny, what are you doing going forward? Regardless, next 3 games, you win out. You win, you're 10-7. What are you doing?
What am I doing in the off season, or am I doing?
No, what are you doing? Like, are you taking? Should Russ be back?
Yes, he should be back regardless. Regardless, and I got a couple. You told me to do homework. I got 3 questions for you coming up, but he's got to be back. What are you going to do? You nailed it on the button. The guys, Trevor and everybody in Bronco Roundup, nail it. I listen to you guys all the time. I follow the Broncos as much as I can. Russ is not the problem. Russ is not the problem. The problem is the hate that half these fans have. Maybe not even half. It's just a tiny little piece of them. He's not the problem. The problem is if you bring another quarterback in and take a step backwards and you go behind, now you got to develop a quarterback. What if that quarterback doesn't develop? Now you got to go back and find another quarterback in the draft or free agency. What if that quarterback don't work? You're in a 10 year, you're 10 years of losing. You got a winning quarterback now, even if it's for 2 years. These are the 2 years you got to win. It doesn't matter. These are the 2 years you got to win. 3 years, 3 years, however many years he has left. You got the quarterback now. We're not in the past. We're not in the future. We're here now in the present, like the Christmas Carol. No quarterbacks from the past. No quarterbacks from the future. Present.
And you know what, Jen? I'm going to go to you because Kenny just made a point about these people who are anti-Russ and everything. Like, my mind like boggles because, I could totally understand. And I'm serious. If you said to me, Jen, you're going from Peyton Manning to Russell Wilson, that you would be like, well, he's got to be like that guy. But look what you had, Jen. Look what you had. And look what you have in Russell Wilson. And people aren't happy. Why? Why the hate, Jen?
I don't know. I want to get Jody's comment in here really quickly, though, because you're talking about no talent around Russ. He's saying no tight end. Your second receiver, Judy, can't catch. Your third receiver, Mims, can't run routes. Your running back, number 1, averages 3.1 yards a carry. So, he's not working with the most talented, people around him. And Trevor saying a big problem with the Broncos is the lack of consistency at the quarterback position, like you mentioned before, right? 8 different quarterbacks in 7 years there. So
Can I answer that on an outside perspective, rapid fire style? Trevor's comment. Can I answer rapid fire style? Best quarterback in the league before his injury, Aaron Rodgers. Did terrible in his last year in Green Bay without Hackett. What did the Jets do? They went and got his offensive coordinator again. It takes time for a quarterback to go through different systems. Russ went from Seattle to Hackett's system to now Sean Payton's system. It took you started off 1-5. Now you're getting hot. Watch next year with Russ. You guys are going to be possibly division winners because I truly believe that. And for these fans that don't believe in Russ, I just don't get it. Send them to the Giants, please. You could take Jones.
And seriously, from we always say to you as a teacher, you have to think into people's heads. What is going through these minds, though, Jen? Seriously, like what could people, in your opinion, what could people really say of like why they don't like him? They don't want him as their quarterback. Why? Because I, if you said to me, write 3 things down, I don't know. I mean,
you've heard their reasons. The 3 of us here disagree with their thinking. We would talk about saving money. You talk about developing, but we've talked about how, listen, I feel like it's like in basketball needing that. It's like the Knicks getting Brunson, right? You need the point guard on the court, you need the quarterback on the field. I mean, if that's the missing component, it's not going to work. You need, and you need but this could be, the issue. You need that quarterback coach combination too.
Right, but Jody nailed it. And there won't be a better comment tonight. How soon Russ haters forget? They tell you, draft the quarterback.
Right. It's
Paxton
always,
Lynch.
yep.
Drew Lock. How about the Jets? Draft the quarterback. What's his name? Sam Darnold. Zach Wilson. You could go down the line. Look at the 49ers basically stepped in you know what. Because in reality, if they didn't take their plan was never to have Brock Purdy as their starting quarterback. Be realistic. They traded the house to get Trey Lance, who was a bust that they traded. That gets people fired. Kyle Shanahan saved Lynch's ass by getting this guy and building this system for him.
Jody dropped a great comment about that earlier, saying 7 out of 10 first-round quarterbacks fail. Yeah, you can't expect to you really want that 30% chance, you know? Oh, nope. He just dropped it again. I just went up to find that comment and he dropped it down there again.
So Kenny, right now, there's no scenario in your mind. See, right now for me, there's no scenario Russell Wilson isn't coming back next year. How about you, Kenny?
No scenario. No, I'm trying to think in my head off the top of my head. Is there a scenario? No, there's no scenario. He's back next year. Jarrett Stidham's not the answer. Jameis Winston. I heard these are names I've heard. Jameis Winston. 30 interceptions a year. That's what you want?
Right.
Jarrett Stidham. Okay. Who else am I thinking off the top of my head? I heard those are the names off the top of my head that I can think of. I'm sure I'll think of a dozen more when we're off the air, but those are the two that caught my eye. Jameis Winston, 30 interceptions a year. That's what you want on your team.
No, absolutely not. Jen, what about you? All in, 100%? You're bringing him back next year?
Yes.
I mean,
you told me to do some homework. I got 3. I know you're running short on time.
Just let me know when you hit me up with it.
I got 3 things for you. I got 1 rapid fire question. We can do a rapid fire.
Okay.
I got a fun one for you. You can answer rapid fire. And then I got a stump Kurt for you.
All right, let's bang him out. Jen, do you have anything for Kenny before he raffles everything off?
No, let's let Kenny do this.
Okay, here we go.
All right. So you told me to do some homework, give you 3 things. So the first one's a question, simple question, 30 seconds or less, like we do K&K Sports Show style.
Okay.
Will Judy and Russ finally click these last 3 games, or does someone else need to step up, Kurt, to be the number 2 guy to get you into the playoffs?
No, I think Jerry Jeudy will step up. I think Russ has been showing his emphasizing to get him a little more. Payton's getting the ball, so I'm going to say yes. I think it's Jeudy.
I agree. I think that, and he gets open. That's the big thing. He gets open.
Yes.
They're gonna click in my mind.
Yes.
And I think Belichick's gonna want to stop Sutton. And that's going to leave Jeudy open for the big game this week, I think, because he likes to stop the number 1 options. My fun one, Kurt. All right. So Christmas is coming up, okay? You can give the Bronco fans 3 things, okay? So you're going to give them a big present, which is going to be your big move for 2024. This is 2024, looking ahead. Your Secret Santa gift is a sleeper draft pick, and the stocking stuffer is going to be a low-risk, hard move, which can be draft pick or, a low-end draft, low-end free agent pick. I'll give you mine, so I'll give you time to think. My stocking stuffer is going to be a quarterback in the draft that's going to be maybe a Brock Purdy type that can come out of nowhere, 6th, 7th round, JT Daniels. He started out in Georgia, then he went to Pitt and Rice. I'm talking 6th, 7th round, a little stocking stuffer, 49-cent gift in the stocking, no low risk, high reward. My Secret Santa free agent pick, Hunter Henry. You need a tight end, receiving tight end. He's over there in New England. You're going to see him on Sunday. Or Mike Gesicki, the other tight end over there in New England. Secret Santa, that's my low free agent. Not going to cost you much money. My big present, it's going to be an offensive guy. It's not going to be defensive guy, T. Higgins. You're going to get that number 1 wide receiver, steal him from my Giants, and you're going to get T. Higgins as your big move.
Wow, I like that.
2024.
I like that. I'm going, what's his name? Devin White from my home run thing is Devin White. I want this defense. I want this defense.
I didn't want to steal your thunder. I knew you were going to go him.
I want to get him, lock him in. And just listen to me. You light up Kelsey. Those games are over. No more crossing patterns with tight ends, and that you become the number one defense in football. You get a leader on defense. You get a short tackler and a guy who could cover. So I'm going to go there. My sleeper, you asked me for a sleeper in the draft, quarterback?
It could be a sleeper in the draft. A sleeper in the draft. That it could be first round pick, that a position that nobody's talking about. It doesn't necessarily. It just doesn't. I don't want the top picks in the draft. So
that's tough. I want to say
another free agent.
Yeah, you know what? I like your Hunter Henry. I mean, if there's any way I could trade up, I'm dead serious, and I could get Brock Bowers. I mean, if I could get Brock Bowers,
I'll take that as Secret Santa because he's not going to cost much because he's on a rookie deal.
I want Brock. I want a stud tight end. And then my other one was like a under the radar. Maybe one more corner, Kenny. I got to get another corner. Moreau has been okay, but I still got to pair somebody with Surtain. So I'm going to go there. Oh, Kenny.
Oh, I do see a comment.
Staffiero is saying, Kenny, that JT retired due to injuries, but love the idea.
Thanks for that update. I did not know that, Matt. I did not know that. Thank you. I guess I'll have to pick another stocking stuffer, but I don't have one on top of my head. So, but like a low end quarterback, I think would be my stocking stuffer, like a 5th to 7th round pick that nobody's talking about, that Payton may like, kind of like what they did in Shanahan with Cousins and
that Payton
RG3.
may like that Payton may like that don't see the field for 3-4 years.
Right. 2, 3, 4 years. Yep. Exactly.
Okay.
My last one, Stump Kurt. You ready?
Yes, sir.
All right. So the Broncos, I want two-parter. I want the Broncos record on Christmas. That's all. Just give me the Broncos record on Christmas. And do I want a second part of that? And no, just give me the Broncos record on Christmas.
How many games?
We're going only back. I'll tell you how far back I'm going. We're going back 30 years.
But that's not every year.
Not even 30 years. Last 25 years. What's their record? All right. They played 4 games. That's going to give it away.
On Christmas. They definitely lost.
You would have maybe got this because it's recent. It's not old history.
Well, they didn't win last year. I could tell you that.
All right. So I know you're running short on time. The first one was in 1999, win or loss against the Lions.
They won that.
17-7 over the Lions. Your big play guy was Orlandis Gary.
Yep.
They beat the Lions, who were 6-1 at home at the time.
Okay.
So they got in. Second one was in 2004.
Okay. 2004. I believe 2004. 5 was it? 6 was their really big year. I'm going to say they lost that game.
No, they won big, 37-16.
Okay.
Reuben Drones was your big guy in that game. So there's your 2 wins. They lost in 2016.
Last year was the Rams.
And last year they got blown out 51-14. So 2-2 in Christmas Day games for the Broncos in their history.
Okay. Well, hopefully that gets to 3-2. All right. Jenny Hoops, do you have anything else from Mr. Kirkpatrick?
No, but I want to get in a question that Jody had put up, because this is often something, Kurt, on our high school show that we have posed to coaches and that you and I have debated amongst ourselves, several times. So for you and Kenny here, let's just get Jody's question in that people say great coaches don't adjust their system to players. They get their guys. Do you like? Okay, so I'm going to rephrase a little bit. Like, do coaches adjust to the players, or do they get their players to run their system, basically?
Who are you asking first?
Kenny, go ahead, because I've heard it from Kurt many times.
I think the coaches have to agree. Like here's I'll use a quarterback as an example. The best quarterback I could think of off the top of my head would be Lamar Jackson. If you got a coach coming in, a new coach coming in, and he's a pass heavy pocket style coach on his offense, that's not Lamar Jackson. You got to change to your player there. So I think in that sense, you got to adjust to your players. I guess this is pointed at Russell Wilson. I think you do have to adjust Sean Payton a little bit. I mean, run what he likes. Why would you not run Russell Wilson with his strong points? I do think the coaches have to adjust to the players to an extent. Not 100%, but definitely you got to adjust to your players' strengths, in my opinion, Jen.
Kurt?
Listen, not only should it be the coach, that's the coach's obligation to do. If they don't do that, they shouldn't be the coach. Now, can you come up with a there's the good word, compromise? Because Gary Kubiak compromised with Peyton Manning and it won him a Super Bowl. He wanted to be under center. He wanted to run the ball. He wanted to, hey, when we're going to play action, we're going to turn our back. And then we're going to, we're not going to do what we did in Indy. We're going to do a little of that. And they compromise. So that's a good word, to compromise. But yeah, so absolutely. It's the coach's responsibility to do what that quarterback does best.
Yeah, Matt Staffiaro agreeing with you there, Kurt, about the compromise, right? And yeah, it's true. Different levels, I think, make a difference there, right? Professional versus high school versus college. But I think you hit the nail on the head, Kurt. It's your obligation to. And if something isn't working, you got to change it, whatever it be, whether it's your system or the player system, you got to change it. Yeah. So, and Trevor just commenting in there that I don't want to mispronounce this name, Kurt, is that Latu?
Yeah, from UCLA.
Falls into the Broncos' lap on draft night. He immediately helps the Broncos defensive line.
Yep. Jen, my last one for
you. And I bet you he likes Kahlua pork, Kurt, because he's from Hawaii.
You know what? I hope him and all my fellow Hawaiians can enjoy their Kahlua pork. Jen, I'm going to go rapid fire. Last one for me before closing statements. Do the Broncos win the next 3-part question? Part 1, do they win on Christmas night? Do they win out? Do they get into the postseason, Jen?
Oh, remember, this isn't what I want to happen, but this is what I think.
What you think? Yeah,
I think they're going to win on Christmas. I don't think they're going to win all 3 games. I don't. Sorry. Okay, and then I think that makes it a no for the playoffs in that case. Yes.
All right. I will go next. They have to win. They will win on Christmas. I think it's, by the way, Jen, snow-capped helmets, the white helmets, it's going to be snowing out. So let's go. They win on Christmas. They win out. And I think they do get in. I think they are one of the best 7 teams in the AFC. I don't trust a lot of teams before them. And I think they will. 80% chance, I think they will. Kenny.
I had them going 4-1 was my prediction in the last 5. I had you beating the Lions and then having a little letdown in one of these final games. I thought it was going to be the Chargers at the time we did the last 5 games, but after what their debacle is. So yes, now I changed my mind from that Chargers game. That's going to be a win. So I do think you get to 3-0. I do think you get into the playoffs because I still believe all these teams that are ahead of you are going to beat each other up because they got a lot of matchups against each other. And just this week alone, there's a lot of playoff 2 teams playing each other that are in the playoffs. Top of my head, I can name a couple. The Colts have a big one. Texans have a big one. They're playing playoff teams. They're not playing teams that are out of it. So I do believe these teams are going to beat each other up. I do think now that I have you beating the Chargers, you go 3-0 in the final 3.
Okay.
Jody is agreeing with you guys that you will win all run the table on the last 3 and get in. Wayne is saying that he thinks they'll win out, but he doesn't think they'll get the help they need to get into the playoffs because the Colts, also have an easy schedule too.
Yep. Jody's saying Stroud's out again, right? And I see like everybody's so high on Buffalo, but the thing that's great is Buffalo's got to go to Miami, right? Miami's going to need that game for the division. Miami's going to need that game for the 1 seed. So it's, remember, we have the tiebreaker with a lot of teams too. So listen, I don't want to look at, we can't do anything unless we win our next 3, Jen.
Right. Week by week.
Week by week. That's it.
All right. Let's get some final thoughts from you guys. Kenny, why don't you start us off?
Oh, well, thank you guys for having me. First time on the Broncos show, I think. It's funny that I'm saying thank you for having me. This is we've done the All-In show. We've done the Broncos show now. Got to get you on our Giants show, Kurt. Jen's helped us out a couple times, get both of you on our Giants show before the season's over. But no, thank you. And Merry Christmas to everybody out there. Merry Christmas to both of you. I'll see you obviously talk to you both before Christmas, but for everybody out there, have a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to all out there in Bronco Land. And I think you guys are going to have a nice Christmas and New Year's. I do think you go 3-0. So, and then that's good shot to get into the playoffs. So,
Kurt, before your final thoughts, let me get in Trevor's comment that you have to win out. There's no excuse to interim head coaches and another head coach that's on his way out. All 3 teams have the same quarterbacks that they had when they started the season. No more room to work with, have to take care of business. It's a very favorable schedule for Denver. Wayne saying Merry Christmas. And go ahead, Kurt, close us out.
1,000%. When again, there's no, listen, I'm going to be pissed. Like this season, I'm not going to say it's a waste, but you threw it down the toilet if you lose one of these 3 games. Very easy, backup quarterbacks, like you said, coaches that don't belong there. Let's go. Let's get this done. Kenny, I'm just excited for this, Kenny. I got Saturday night, Jenny Hoops. We got Saturday night. We got St. John's and UConn, right, Jen?
Mm-hmm.
Boom. Sunday night, Bronco game. Monday, bang, Knicks play Saturday too. So big sports weekend. Let's go. Hey, one at a time. Let's not look at the scoreboard yet. One at a time. Let's get through the Patriot one and get to the Chargers. But let's go. Kenny, thank you for joining. Thank you for coming on. Thank the audience for obviously you guys always come on with a great Broncos show. Jen, thank you so much for always doing the behind the scenes for the Broncos show. And let's go. Merry Christmas to everybody.
Good night, Merry Christmas, and thank you for watching.
Have a good one.